All right, guys, welcome back to the show. This is your host, Hunter McWaters, and it's a great day. I'm happy to be with you today. This episode is with a buddy of mine named David Merrill. You may, if you've done any total archery challenges or you've been to any of the hunting expos or trade shows like that, or just, being around, you may have heard of his company, which is called Bow Spider. He makes this really cool, innovative product that you can mount on your wall, you can mount on your truck, but he developed it to mount on your belt or your bag. It's just basically a way of carrying your bow and being able to get quick access to it. He tells a story, but basically he missed the bull of a lifetime because he kind of walked up on the thing and wasn't able to get his bow out in time. So, if you're into bow hunting, definitely check out Bow Spider. It's just a quick access way to secure your bow and grab it when you need it. But this podcast, we talk about a recent hunt he just did in Africa. He did a spot and stalk style Cape Buffalo archery hunt in Africa, which is very dangerous, very difficult, and just an incredible adventure. So we talk about his successful Cape Buffalo archery hunt. And then we also talk about he's done some Dall sheep hunts and he's made some films. He made a film about this Dall sheep hunt, and we talk about that because, as you might know, I went ahead and pulled the trigger and booked myself a Dall sheep hunt for 2023, which I'm really looking forward to. But it's an intense hunt. We kind of go through some gear and different stuff on that. It's just a dream hunt of mine. So I was able to do that, and it's a huge blessing. But we talk about those two awesome hunts, and we talk about Bow Spider. Again, it's a great product, so check it out. And speaking of good products, we have discount codes in the description fields for a lot of the stuff I use. I'm going to go ahead and specifically shout out Initial Ascent and Heather's Choice. Initial Ascent, great packs. You can save some money there and directly support the show using the code QUEST. And then if you want to get some backcountry meals, if you want some healthy, delicious, really top quality ingredients in your backcountry meals, definitely check out Heather's Choice. She's got some great new lineup of meals available now and different flavors and stuff. So use the code Hunter's Quest over there, save some money, and you will support the show as well. And then also support my buddy Guy over at Western Fly Covers. He makes any size or shape fly pack or pack fly cover you might need, as well as bino harness covers. And also me and him are teaming up and working on a new product, which I will tell you more about in the future. Anyway, there's links down below for all that great stuff. Check it out. I'm going to ask you one more time before we get out of here. Please leave me a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. Please share with friends and family, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm working hard over here to try to get out great content for you guys, video content, podcasts, et cetera, et cetera. So I need your support. If you like the show, if you like the films, please, leave me ratings and reviews, share with your friends and family, share it on social media, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's just, I can't tell you enough how much it helps if you do that. So thank you guys for your support. I appreciate you. And let's just jump into this episode with David Merrill from Bow Spider. Enjoy. All right, guys, welcome to the show. I'm here today with David Merrill from Bow Spider. How you doing, bro?
What's up, everybody? I'm doing great.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for joining me. We kind of threw this together last minute. You said you had some free time today, so we just kind of went with it, and I'm glad we could make it work. How you doing today?
Oh, I just got home and it's been a whirlwind, but I'm glad you reached out and
Yeah,
got me
man.
on here.
So you were in Africa, right?
Yeah, I just got home from South Africa. I went hunting with Dries Weiser Safaris,
Okay.
and I've met them a couple times over the last few years. And
Sweet.
I've been wanting to go back. I went in 2000, I think 13 was the last time I went.
Okay.
Plains game, and I always wanted to do dangerous game. So I've been talking with these guys, and they said if
Nice.
I could get over there, they had a cancellation and they would
Okay.
take me. And so last minute, I hopped on a plane and went.
That's amazing, dude. That was in South Africa, you said?
Yeah, we were 3 hours north of Johannesburg in the Limpopo province.
Okay.
It's just outside of Kruger National Park for
Okay.
people who might know a map.
Nice, man. So, just a little backstory here. So, I met you and your wife at Total Archery Challenge in Pennsylvania. I guess that would have been last year.
Yeah, that was a 30-hour drive straight through
Oh
from
my gosh. I know the
Pennsylvania to
feeling. I just
Miami.
drove to Idaho and back
Yeah, were you spring
from
bear hunt?
Virginia. Yeah, yeah, spring
How'd you
bear
do?
hunt. Good. I was filming. I was hunting with Mark Livesey, and I was filming for him, and then we were with Brad Hunt and Ryan, and they were off hunting together, Ryan Lampers, and so me and so they shot one like the second day, and then me and Mark shot one like the fifth day, and then I almost killed a really nice chocolate, like a really nice one, but anyway, long story short, you guys can listen to the podcast. We just did a recap about it, but he gave me the slip, basically.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah, man. So I met you back at TAC in Pennsylvania last year, and then I saw you guys again this year at the expo, and it was busy. Kind of, I said hi, and then I don't know if I even saw you guys again, but
Yeah, those
um,
expos are crazy, man.
dude, it was nuts, man. So, but yeah, me and you guys connected at the TAC, and you guys were super nice to me, and it was my first like sort of event that I went to, so I didn't really know what was going on. It was kind of awkward, but you guys were super nice, so I appreciate y'all talking to me and hanging out and stuff.
No, I'm glad you're still getting after it. So we filmed this latest trip to Africa, so we're gonna put it on the YouTube
Oh
channel, and
yeah,
it was 7 days of grueling because we spot and stalked Africa. Nobody, I mean, some guys do it for sure, but if
yeah.
you
So
want
this
to
is
be
your second
successful,
time to go to Africa, is that right?
yeah,
You said
yeah.
okay. So yeah, tell me about the trip, man.
So, most of these places, or I'd highly recommend you do your research. Africa's a really weird dynamic, right? Because we're very used to here as North American hunters with our North American conservation model,
Mm-hmm.
public land, public tags, lottery systems, right? And yeah, there's some private ranch hunting, but the game is owned by the public, you and I,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then
Right.
it just, I guess the game trespasses onto private ground, but the private landowner doesn't own the deer, doesn't own the elk, doesn't own the bear, right? Like on your bear hunt you just went on, I'm pretty sure you guys were 100% public land
Oh
spot
yeah.
and stock, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
South Africa is, I mean, it's been colonized and there's really no public land. And the places there is public land, the poaching is so rampant, there's no game. I mean, and
Yeah.
can it be done and is there spots? Yes. But the meat market hunting that we don't have here
Yeah.
really motivates the poachers to
And
go out
just
there.
the financial dynamic. I've been to Africa on like a missions trip, and we were in I'm blanking on the country right now, but anyway, I didn't see a single living animal, like nothing. And
Yeah.
like usually, and we did like a 9-hour road trip one time going across the country, and usually like if you're here, you'll see a deer on the side of the road or whatever. Like I didn't see one single living animal, and I just realized like anywhere these things are not protected, they have been eaten generations ago.
Oh, and the more blatant than that is they graze their goats and their cattle, right?
Hmm.
And they cut all the trees down for firewood and they cut all the grass down for roof thatching,
Right. And you
right?
can't blame them because those people they're just surviving, man. Like a lot of those
It's,
people, those village people, it's not like here. Like they're just trying to make a living and like feed their kids and survive. So it sucks for the, ecology, but you can't really blame them.
no, and it's a weird dichotomy in you're driving down the road and you get passed by a BMW or Mercedes and cars there are more expensive than here with
Mm,
their import duties and taxes and everything and their fuel is outrageously expensive.
hmm.
So to have a Mercedes Benz and be driving around on the roads and pay
Yeah.
the license and taxes, and then they're driving past somebody who literally doesn't have shoes on,
Right.
and they're wearing an old hand-me-down Nike shirt that they got from, Red Cross or something.
Hmm.
It's a weird, it's a weird situation in that country for
Yeah.
sure. But the conservation model that's been adapted is the private landowner owns those animals, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so he has a monetary incentive to protect, grow, and house that wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, I posted a picture on our social yesterday. All the meat on the place we were on, they have a commercial meat packing facility basically. I mean, it's got two walk-in coolers that are 40 by 40 feet, right? And we had
Yeah.
20 animals or 25 animals hanging in there, and then they'll have a refrigerated truck come up, buy that meat. They'll have a refrigerated truck come and they'll transport the meat to the meat market. So 100% of that meat goes right into the local economy one way or another.
Mm.
It gets used, right?
Yeah.
But without rich American hunters going and buying those animals,
Mm-hmm.
and part of me wants to have the quote unquote free range public land DIY African hunt. It doesn't exist. You already
Right.
put your finger on it. The places that you can go do that, there's no trees, there's no grass, there's no animals.
Yeah.
Versus the ranch we were on has like, I don't know how many animals per square acre, but more than one animal per acre
Yeah. A
on that
lot.
place. A lot. It's a very target rich environment. So,
That's
and
cool,
that's,
man.
I went for Cape Buffalo, and
You
then we
went
did
specifically for the Cape Buffalo?
yeah, I've been.
So and so I guess you're saying that the ranch, the landowners, I'm sure they does the government play a role in how many tags they can sell or how many animals they can sell, or are they self-regulated, or what's up with that?
Yes and no. So, like any of the smaller species that can cross through fences that aren't
Mm-hmm.
really, I guess, managed like cattle. I mean, kind of think of Texas high fence on steroids.
Yeah.
And the place we were on was 20 miles deep and 10 miles wide.
Mm.
So, I mean, you get dropped off in one corner and go for a walk. You're really not walking. You're not
Yeah.
walking there and back in a day.
Right.
I mean, so it's a big ranch, and the ranch next door is the same size, and the ranch next door is the same size, but it's all privately held. So the
Mm-hmm.
bigger animals, they're kind of bought and sold and bred. But my buffalo was born, lived, and died on that piece of property, and he
Yeah.
never really cared that there was a fence there, right?
Yeah. You probably didn't even probably know,
No,
but
I mean they live in what, I don't know. Now the wild ones probably migrate a little further, but that's, on those roads, you wouldn't want to be driving around and have a 3,000 pound buffalo step out in the middle of the road. It would be bad for traffic, right?
yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. So
And
so
I
tell
asked the PH while I was there, because Dries Weiser Jr. inherited it from his dad, and they started this place in the 80s, and they've been bow hunting strictly on it forever. But without the hunters coming and without those dollars paying, and I mean, simply put, they're going to harvest about 1,000 animals on that place this
Mm-hmm.
year. They have somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 animals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're harvesting something like 25%. And that's just the maximum carrying capacity, and that's as many hunters as they can bring in there.
Yeah. Well,
But
so
without a
tell me the story of how you bow hunted, obviously.
spot and stock bow
All
hunting,
right,
and
tell
it
me the
was
story, man.
so when I approached him first, I said, for me, the last time I went, I spent the whole safari in a blind over
Mm,
water.
mm,
I said, I want to get out and explore Africa and see what this place is like and see how the animals interact, not just, ambushed by water. Now,
right.
if you want to go be successful, 100% go ambush them by water. It's a great time. Take your spouse, take your kid, take your neighbor, take a non-hunter, because they're going to get to take pictures of game. Probably you'll have better photo opportunities on the hunting ranch than you would out on a photo safari. Because
Yeah.
on a photo safari, you're going to pull up, there's going to be 10 other trucks there. They're
Right.
going to be on the radio that, oh, the elephants are at this water hole. And so you pull up there, there's 10 trucks, and the elephants are basically tame. The lions are
Yeah.
basically tame, right? On the ranch, these animals aren't tame by no means.
Yeah.
But you're getting these close interactions. So
Were there
I
predators on the property?
Oh yeah, the hyenas come through. We heard a leopard one day, and all the PHs are really scared of leopards, which we got grizzly bears. I'm like, what? But leopard, a wounded leopard is by far the
Oh,
most
dude.
critter there.
Silent killer.
So I told the guys that, hey, I'm coming to do spot and stock public land style, but obviously private ranch. I said, I don't care about a big hit list. I just want to be out mano y mano chasing these things. And
You want to hunt how you want to hunt.
yeah, and it by far, uh, spot and stock Cape Buffalo with a rifle is probably the most adrenaline pumping because you just walk right up on them, pick them. They're going to kind of, like our American bison, face you a little bit, determine what the threat is, and then run away. Well, with a rifle, you can sit there and pick which one you want at 80 yards.
Mm-hmm.
With a bow, you'll never get a shot opportunity by letting them know you're there.
Oh,
Right.
so you got
So
to
we did
sneak
the
in.
same thing is cut tracks on the road, get out of the truck, track them, and then try and figure out where they're going and either cut them off or just slowly, slowly spend an hour, hour and a half. You can just audibly hear them feeding and grazing. And we just kept trying to dog around them and get in close. But I had birds and I had impala more than once alarm that we were there, or the wind would switch, right? It's just
Yeah.
flat as a pancake. The wind switched. You just spend an hour stalking in from 800 yards into 100 yards, and they're slowly feeding. So you're having to keep up and moving. So you stalk another 200-300 yards with them. And then the wind switches and you just hear animals run away and you never even get to see anything. So
Yeah.
it was frustrating to say the least. It was difficult. 7 days of spot stock. I drew my bow back twice.
Oh, wow. So it took that
One
long to get
time,
it done, huh?
oh yeah, it was. I mean, and we had multiple encounters under 100 yards, but I needed 30 to 40, and I
Mm.
needed broadside standing still.
Dude, that's sketch. 30 yards from one of those things?
I was 19 yards. We got some GoPro footage. As I drew back, I hit some brush with my stabilizer. He heard that noise and he steps out. I can just see head and neck. And he stood there for about 10 seconds and then he bolted. And I'm
Oh,
contemplating shooting through the bush into the vitals, but I can't see the vitals. If he had stepped 6 inches further before he stopped, or if I had not hit that brush drawing my bow, 19-yard shot.
mm.
But Hunter, I've been more than once charged by a grizzly bear and been in grizzly bear and had grizzly bear issues hunting here in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't say that you're a little bit wary and concerned of grizzly bears, you either haven't had enough encounters or you don't hunt where there's grizzly bears. Because
Yeah.
I mean, there's a certain pucker factor when a grizzly bear charges you, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's terrifying.
Yeah, well, these things look at you like you owe them money and not a little bit of money. And they look dumb, right? You look at them, you see them on Nat Geo Wild, and you're like, hey, this is just a big dumb cow, right?
Yeah.
No, they know you're there. They are very alert, very attentive, and so
So what's
a couple
scarier, a
times
grizzly bear or the Black Death?
the Black Death. Look, I mean they scared me more than a grizzly bear for
Okay.
sure. I
Wow.
mean, you're dialed to 11 when you're going in on one of these, and when you finally start seeing pieces and hearing brush and
Yeah. So did your PH and the guys at the place, did they give you any like pushback when you're like, yo, I want to stalk and bow hunt these things? Or they like, yeah, were they all about it?
they were excited about it, but they're also like, you realize that this is not going to be easy, right?
Yeah.
And so we got to the point
I guess your
after
PH
about
probably had a rifle too, just as like a backup.
we had two PHs with rifles,
Yeah, I
and,
bet.
and then we had a cameraman, and having a tracker, two PHs, a cameraman, and yourself,
Mm-hmm.
5 guys trying to sneak up on buffalo.
Mm.
Finally, about day 3, I told the PH, I said, you know what? Bag that tracker, forget the cameraman. I got the GoPro on the bow. We don't need the second PH. We'll get him after the shot. So him and I just took our shoes and socks off
Okay.
and started stalking through the African bush with bare feet. And we got close more than once, but
That's some
puff
primal stuff
adders are
right there.
everywhere, and then thorns and the
Puff
brush.
adders, you said?
Yeah, we killed 4 puff adders in a week, and
Wow.
they bite you, and you're done. I mean,
Yeah.
you're losing a limb. Like they're deadly. We didn't see any black mambas, but we saw tracks.
Mm.
Saw python tracks. I mean, but the grass got so crunchy after about 9, 10 in the morning after the dew went away
Yeah.
that with your shoes, you just crunch, crunch. And
You
they
need to get
can,
some
the
stalking
buffalo,
shoes, man. You don't have any stalking moccasins?
yeah, I probably should have taken a pair for sure. I'll go back with some nice moccasins. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so running barefoot, chasing buffalo it was a highlight of my life for sure.
Dude, that's primal, man.
It was, and sometimes it'd be like, oh, there's a mud hole. And we went, this is the start of their winter, but it's really the wet season. So the grass was at its highest
Mm-hmm.
and all the natural water ponds are completely full. So it
Mm,
was not like you could sit over the man-made water holes and just ambush them. I mean, they
right.
were. So we'd go out and find the mud wallows, and they like to wallow, big black animals. Still, they call it cold, but it's like 60, 70 degrees in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm shit stripping down to a t-shirt and starting to sweat. And so those big back buffalo, afternoons, they're hiding under the shade of a tree. They don't
Yeah.
want to be out. And then they're going and rolling in the mud. So there's a couple times we stocked up and then just sat under a bush overlooking a mud hole, hoping that they would show up and do a little bit of wallowing. So again, the last evening, we we're sitting in a little brush blind. I think we built 9 brush blinds, just cut some branches and pushed them up and sat behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 2 buffalo come in. One was limping from fighting with other bulls.
Mm.
And he was a younger bull, and the PH is like, you can take him, but he's still got some more growing to do. The other bull that was with him was old, like 10 years old, way past his prime, way peaked, short tips, but just heavy. And I
Mm.
said, that's the bull for me.
Yeah.
Shot was 24 yards,
Oof.
minimal penetration with a 650 grain arrow, 73-pound bow,
Wow. Like how far,
250
how
foot
much did it
pad,
penetrate, you think?
about 7 inches.
Wow.
Tipped off one rib, hit another, and the tip of the broadhead kind of twisted and bent. Big single bevel broadhead. So uh, we had to follow it up and chase it the next morning with dogs and rifles and trackers, and it got real western real quick. That other limpy bull stayed with him and kind of protected him, herd mentality.
Oh, interesting.
And because he was kind of crippled up himself, he didn't want to go anywhere either. So we actually, right after I shot, 10 minutes after in the dark, we went and bait him up with the dogs. And it got real hairy. Like, yeah, I told the PH, okay, this is above the level of intense that I want to deal with right now. Let's come back at the light when I can at least see this thing running at me.
Yeah.
So we came back the next morning and we got on the tracks and we got it done relatively quick. That other bull, we had enough trackers and dogs and people that we got him separated and
Did you have to put
got
another
in there.
arrow in
And they
them?
handed me a rifle at that point, and I was
Okay, yeah.
that. And it was about a 70-yard shot and finished the job.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's cool that you got to finish them yourself.
Yep. I kind of asked, and they had enough confidence that I could
Yeah.
handle it. So I don't think a lot of guys would get that same, I guess, treatment of here's a rifle, go finish it. They would have just walked up and shot it.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. That sounds like epic hunt, man. Just like
Oh yeah. We
sneaking through the
took
bush barefoot. Took 7 days. Big mature bull.
yep. I took a golden wildebeest day 2. We
Okay.
just we're stalking through the brush and caught movement. Went, it's pretty decent. Made about a 30-yard move. Not even 30 seconds later, he walked up and presented a 28-yard shot, and I double lunged him.
Okay.
So I was packing 2 arrows, 2 broadheads, 2 weights, and basically there's a 10-yard difference, right? So my lighter plains game 450 grain arrows were on at 20, 30, 40, and my heavy arrows, the same distance, they were 200 grains heavier. They were on at a 40-yard shot. I had to use my 50-yard pin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a 30-yard shot, I had to use my 40-yard pin. So we locked the sight at 30 yards, but interestingly enough, those arrows were within 2 inches of each other at 30 yards and under. So it was a little bit hard. I think if I did it again, I would go with 2 bows, an 80-pound bow, definitely heavier grain arrow, 750, maybe 800. And I would just walk around with the 80-pound bow till the buffalo was done.
Yeah.
And then I'd switch back to a 70-pound bow with that that any an elk arrow that we build here, somewhere between 400 and 500 grains, around 70 foot-pounds of kinetic energy, will harvest anything in Africa, up to the dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
But trying to keep, which arrow am I shooting? Which distance am I shooting in your head was a little bit.
Yeah. That's a lot. Not to mention you're like, is this thing going to charge me? Like, am I stepping on a puff adder?
Yeah, and that's half the reason I did it that way was, going and sitting in the blinds is definitely the way to harvest a lot of
Right.
animals.
But you want to do it how you want to do it.
I wanted to hear the birds. I wanted to feel the wind. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
see the sights and not just put me in a
Sure.
box.
Yeah, I mean, the hunt is all about the experience and the hunt, I mean, if it was just all about the kill, then you would probably sit in the blind. There's nothing wrong with sitting in the blind either, but it's about the hunt. So that's cool, man. Yeah. Anything else I do want to ask you a little bit about your sheep hunt too, because I know you did
Okay.
that. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger. Same thing. I was talking to a buddy of mine, Ryan Bassham, who does hunt consulting about sheep and stuff. And just with the way regs are going, and it could go to all draw in the next couple of years for non-residents, and it's just not getting any cheaper. He had a guy that had a cancellation for 23 on a sheep hunt, and it's like something I've always wanted to do. So I was like, there's no reason to put it off any farther because I might not ever get to do it. Like the price is just going up and up. So I just jumped on it, paid the deposit. So I'm doing Dall sheep in August of 23.
Awesome.
So yeah, what was your experience like? Like who'd you go with?
So I kind of have been cheating. I lived in Alaska for a few
Oh,
years
that's right. Yeah.
and I have family connections. Actually, my dad is a resident, right?
Oh, okay. So you went unguided.
Unguided solo DIY. And I've been on 4 doll sheep hunts now,
That's
and
awesome.
3 were successful. So
What mountain range do you guys hunt, or did you change it up?
the one we filmed in was the Brooks, and I've been in the Brooks a couple times now. And we've done Dad and I did 2 hunts after I had a successful one to get him a sheep that were unsuccessful. So there's 2 whole hunts that are not filmed that happened, and we just learning things the hard way and
Yeah.
doing it. So that hunt that we filmed is actually it's a hike in Brooks Range hunt, which is very, very low success odds just because you got a lot of residents, a lot of pressure. You
Yeah.
don't have the expense of the air transport. So, and we did it a little bit smart is a lot of young kids go do that
Mhm.
and they cover 70 miles in a week, right? And they're basically looking at drainage one morning, nothing, boom, they're going to the next drainage that evening, looking at nothing, boom. Well, those rams, once they find a little pressure, they got some hidey holes that they go up in, and
Mm.
they might only move 500 yards in a day. And so we spent 3 days glassing from the same knob, and
Okay.
we only saw the one legal ram that whole trip. The trip before, I think we saw 5 or 6 legal rams, but we spent 90 hours in a tent with snow and fog and rain.
Oh wow.
I would unzip the tent, look out, you had 50-yard visibility, and there's no sense in Alaska walking around in gray white fog
Yeah.
looking for a white animal that's bedded down. He'll spot movement at about 150 and get up
Yeah.
and walk away, and you have 50-yard visibility, and you have the chance of just walking right off a cliff, right?
Mhm.
You really do. So the weather on this last hunt, it was 2 years ago, we had one day of rain and fog, and I kind of on film I said, oh, here we go again. I mean, we're going to be spending 3 days in a tent again. And that was rough. When we finally got a break in the weather, this was trip 2. I told Dad, pack your gear, I'm getting off this damn mountain. I'm done.
Yeah,
So, and
dude. Spending my first trip to Alaska, we spent probably 36 hours. In pretty much. I mean, and eventually I was just like, you know what, screw this. I'm putting rain gear on. I'm not gonna go far from camp, but I'm getting out. Like I can't do this anymore. But dude, it can be rough. You gotta plan for that. Like this, I just got back from Idaho, and I like downloaded some stuff on Netflix on my phone because we had to spend basically an entire day in tents, and I was sitting there just like watching movies on my phone.
I didn't have, I was saving phone batteries. So I think I brought some reading material and I read it twice. And then I was reading the back of the safety manual on my sleeping bag and
Yeah.
every word on every, I mean, you just,
Yeah.
so
Dude.
definitely take a mini pack of playing cards.
Yeah, something.
Honestly, take something because the glory of spending 3-4 days in a tent. You get to where your back hurts, your hips hurt. So I'd go from sitting to laying to one shoulder to my back, and I'm in a one-man tent. There's not a lot you can do,
Mm-mm.
and everything's wet at that point in time. There's no
Oh yeah.
drying gear out.
Mm-mm.
Everything's wet, and you
Yeah.
just deal with being wet. So definitely ultralight synthetics, hydrophobic down stuff that the one thing I've been doing is I like my down sleeping bag. I like to be warm when I'm sleeping, but on that hunt I take a synthetic bag because yeah, once you get your down bag wet, you
Yeah.
might as well not have a sleeping bag at all.
A
So
15-degree or a 0-degree, or what'd you bring?
what I like to do is put a sheet in like a 15 or a 20-degree bag, and then I'll have my pad under it. And then if I get cold, I'll lay like my clothes on top of it and put my clothes in it. And sometimes I'll wear 2 or 3 layers
Mm-hmm.
of my underlayers inside the bag as well. A beanie for sure,
Oh yeah.
because you lose all that heat there. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually packed 2 beanies. One I put my mountain house in to keep it warm while it's cooking, and then another one just thin, light.
Yeah.
They're fleece beanies, but definitely, you're because I mean you're packing your whole camp with you. It's not like other trips, and not even like a base camp sheep hunt where you have a real nice fancy camp you fly into. And by fancy, I mean a 4-man tent with extra food.
Right.
I'm cutting the handle off my toothbrush. I'm counting out
What a
ibuprofen for each day, so I'm not packing extra anything. I'm not taking the bottle for the ibuprofen. Heck no.
what shelters you use on those trips?
So on my very first Dall sheep hunt was 2013, and I mean I don't want to support this company, but I bought a REI quarter dome
Mm-hmm.
T1. Trail weight's like 2.5, 3 pounds, 3 season, and it's almost 10 years old now and been used every season. It's seen its better days, and so
Yeah.
I'm looking more at like a Seek Outside or
Well, that's what
uh,
I'm trying to figure out. Like, so I have a Big Agnes copper spur that's pretty good. I took it on my first trip to Alaska. Um, on this last trip in Idaho, I was just in. I used a Seek Outside Cimarron, or no, Silex, which I liked a lot. Kept me dry. Pretty bad condensation though. So I'm trying to think for this trip, and it's almost like to almost to me, it's like if you're gonna take the Silex, it only really makes sense if you have a stove too. In a way, it's like
yeah.
if you can't have the stove, maybe you're better off with a double walled. So I'm trying to decide try to do like a floorless Silex or just go with the copper spurred style shelter for Alaska on this trip.
For the way I go, I mean they're up there sheep hunting. There's nothing to burn
There's no
anyway.
wood. Yeah.
Even if you'll find a little bit of willows here and there, but you're going to struggle to have enough wood. And
Yeah.
I would. You obviously don't have snakes, spiders, really anything to creepy crawlies to worry about. So floorless isn't an issue, but you can have enough wind and snow and rain that I would want a bathtub floor,
Yeah.
and I would want a rain fly that goes all the way to the ground. I mean, we
Yes.
were dealing with 60-mile-an-hour winds,
I
and
agree with you,
I
man.
stacked rocks halfway up my tent all the way around.
Yeah.
That's what I would do for fun. Is I'd put my rain gear on, and I'd go be like, I'm going to reinforce my rock wall some more because my tent is it's not a 4-season tent, right? So it
Right.
was blowing over,
Yeah.
ripping the guy lines out. I would highly recommend for that trip steer more towards something with a bathtub floor.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
think you're right, man. The other thing that happened too is like on the Silex, the condensation, especially in certain areas, which of course, in Alaska when you're in a cloud, like there's going to be condensation. So I would wake up and it would be like really bad condensation, and then the rain would come, and the rain would hit the outside of the tent and cause the condensation inside the tent to drip on me.
yep.
So like it was literally raining inside of my shelter the only thing that really like helped was starting a fire to dry it out. But if you don't have that option, I'm thinking you're probably definitely right, especially with the wind. I think you're going to want something fully enclosed.
Yeah, that was snowing and raining and melting that first trip to where I had about 2 inches of water underneath my tent.
Hmm.
It was like sleeping on a cold water bed the whole time. So the mattress is a must, right? You've got to have that insulation.
Yeah.
And then I hear guys brag about their down bags. I have a down bag, and here in Wyoming, that's what I take everywhere I go, right? But I'm a day away from a laundromat where I can go dry the thing and
Right.
restock and go back in if I need to. And I'm really not preparing for 3 days of snow and rain. And so like I said, I think on that trip, the lightest you can get with a bathtub floor. And the nice thing with that REI is it's got a ton of air ventilation to where I didn't have that condensation issue. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we were in a cloud the whole time, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't raining inside that thing. Now there was dew built up on the inside of the rain fly, but because there was enough airflow, it wasn't actually, it would just bead and run down the rain fly and drip outside.
Yeah.
One thing I do is I put my boots inside at my feet, and then I put my rain cover on my backpack and lay it right inside my vestibule, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everything is inside the weather as best as it can be. And that gives me, because I have like a little triangle, my pack and my bow is laying kind of where my feet are. So right by my shoulder, I have a 3 square foot area to cook and eat and
Yeah.
kind of set up in. And that's hopefully you have great weather, my friend. And
Yeah, I hope so. That's the good thing about that Big Agnes tent. It has really big vestibules on both sides, which is nice. Keep your
the
stuff
hard
in
part
there.
with some of those sheep hunts, like where we were going, we go to the top
Mm-hmm.
and want to camp out on top and then look down on the sheep if we can, right? And not that way you're putting more energy into moving camp up there instead of just leaving it in the bottoms and then day hiking up.
Mm-hmm.
But I
But you're up
literally
there.
unzip and I'm spotting out of it. So the thing you'll find is it's hard to find a flat spot big enough for a 1 man tent, let alone a 2 man. And
Yeah.
so that's we've talked about a couple times taking a 2 man and splitting the weight between two guys, right? Because you can get less weight if you take the poles and the other guy takes the tent. You can those like the Big Agnes 2 man is like 4 pounds, right? So instead
Mm-hmm.
of a 3 pound tent, you can have 2 pounds worth of tent shit splitting it with a buddy. But some places are great. Yeah, you could put up a 10 man tent, but other places you're kicking out a sheep bed
Yeah.
and that's all you have is there's not even hardly enough room to lay down. So
Yeah, man. Well, that's cool. I might have to pick your brain more too as we get closer. But there's a couple other things I wanted to hit. Um, because you told us about Africa and your sheep hunt, but I got to ask you about bow spider, man. Like that's your thing. So, and I don't know, just in case people don't know about it, like tell me about bow spider and just how you developed it and what's going on with that.
so I mean one phrase that I've heard in this industry used a lot that is definitely played out and overused is game changer, right? Oh, game
Mm-hmm.
changer, game changer, game changer. But honestly, this will impact the way you bow hunt. It'll impact the way you and I missed the opportunity of a bull elk of a lifetime by strapping my bow to my back. Couldn't get the bow in time, right? And the long story is the next day I'm sitting at camp, disheartened on a bull of a lifetime. We're just debating on okay, we're gonna go up this other drainage day hunt, but it's a couple hour hike in the dark. And I'm just debating, sitting there going, okay, am I going to carry this bow all day tomorrow? Or am I putting it back in my backpack where I'm going to lose an elk? But at the same point in time, we're doing like a 5 mile death march up into this dead end basin. I don't need my bow for the first 4 or 5 miles.
Right.
I'm just sitting there looking at the bow on the ground, looking at the pack on the ground, and having this moral debate with myself of, well, am I just going to be lazy again and strap my bow to my backpack?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I going to just suffer and carry the damn thing? Right. And so after I said there's got to be a solution where I can do both, where I can have my bow when I want it, but I can put it away. And so I started messing around with prototypes, and it took 30 some renditions. And from when I started till we had a product was a little over 3 years, 2.5 years of just
Wow.
go out. And I mean, the second season, I was 3D printing the prototypes and had something that was functional, right?
Mm-hmm.
and went, wow, this is, when you can just reach over the top of your head, pull that bow off your back, slip your backpack off and go.
Well, tell people real quick, just that if they haven't seen it yet, because I've seen this thing and it's super cool. But just explain to people who may not have seen it, like what exactly it is.
It's a two-piece system. It's a post and a receiver, and the post goes behind the stabilizer on your bow. The receivers mount anywhere and everywhere. So on the
Mm-hmm.
back of your backpack comes with some Velcro straps, load lifting straps, so you can just strap it there. But you can also bolt it like through the lid of your favorite backpack. Has a belt slot, so it'll go on your hip or the hip belt of your backpack. And then finally, we've put a keyhole in it so you can screw it to the wall or strap one to the headrest of your truck. So you can go from the wall at home to the truck, from the truck to the back of your backpack, from the back of your backpack onto your hip, from your hip up on your tree and your tree stand, and back again, right? And never have to carry your bow. And that's why we call it a system. It's not just, while it was developed for the back of the backpack, and that is the most comfortable, the
Mm-hmm.
most convenient is just to quickly hang it on your hip, glass, take it back off and chase whatever you're glassing.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, Africa's 100% flat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'd think, well, you just carry your bow. That dang brush would grab the bow, grab the hat off my head, and be pulling my clothes off. And it's like cat claws. Every bush has cat claws all over it. So you get
Yeah.
close to it and it just grabs and shreds everything.
Mm.
And if it doesn't have the cat claw thorns, it's got 2-inch long straight thorns. You don't
Yeah.
want to touch, and they're like needles, right? So you don't want to touch a bush in Africa. Just don't do it. So I wore our attack pack because I didn't want to wear a backpack because I didn't need a backpack, right?
Mm-hmm.
The truck was always a 5 or a 10-minute walk away, and we had a tracker or the other PH basically drop us off in this block. We'd be walking for a mile. We'd walk through that block and the truck would already be on the other side.
Yeah.
So, but trying to navigate your way through that brush, having both hands free to kind of push the branches out of the way and then go through with your bow on your back
Yeah.
made a huge difference. And
For
then
sure.
just fatigue of 7 days of having to carry, because I
Oh yeah.
got 650 grain arrows. I had a GoPro. I got my front bar, my back bar. My bow's coming in at like 6.5, 7 pounds. It's super heavy, but I like a heavy bow. Honestly, shooting in the wind, shooting at distance, a heavy bow stays stable. A light bow twitches all over the place. So there's that trade-off. Like in Alaska, I actually used an ultralight carbon bow for that sheep hunt just
Oh, you were
because
bow hunting on that sheep hunt?
I took a bow and bow hunted, but the way the regs work, uh, with a non-resident guide, my dad and I could only harvest one sheep together.
Okay.
So being that I'd already harvested one, I took a bow. If we had an opportunity, like, hey, there's a ram over the cliff 150 yards, let's walk down there.
Yeah.
If we were going to pop over and he was going to be 28 yards away, heck yeah, we were going to
Right.
film a ram with a bow. But as it worked out, you guys can watch the film. It's on Bow Spider's YouTube channel, but dad made a heck of a rifle shot, and it's a 37-inch ram. It's a
Nice.
bruiser of a ram. So
Um. So yeah, this thing is super cool. Convenient way to carry your bow and get to it super fast when you're hiking and stuff like that. Like you said, it's a system and go from your house to your truck and all that. So are you
completely
guys?
eliminates the need for a pull rope up and down your tree, right?
That's true. I didn't even think about that. But
Saddle
so
hunting is
you're.
getting big, and so you can mount it on your saddle, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's moving out on the tree. It's right there, just accessible anywhere you need it.
Yeah,
And there's some YouTube videos exactly how it works. Bow Spider's the channel.
for sure. Is this like your full-time gig now, Bow Spider?
It is. I went from construction. I went from lawn care to construction to oil field. Right.
What's
I've kind
that?
of
What's that whole like journey been like? Starting a business and a new product. I mean, that's I've looked into launching products and stuff like that. It is not easy, man. And so, what's that whole journey been like?
it's. I run around most days with my hair on fire, just looking for a fire extinguisher. But no, honestly, I mean, it's a whirlwind. It's an adventure, but you don't know what you don't know, right?
Right.
And what you don't know is what's going to jump up and bite you.
Now, here's a question: if you knew what you know now, would you have started it?
Yeah, but I
But
mean,
you had to think about it.
it's a well. you wear a lot of hats, right? So
Right.
you go from this entrepreneur of this idea with no funding and really no idea of what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
And then I went into manufacturing and assembly. Well, now we've hired people to do that. And then you have to, in the beginning, it was just me on the
Right.
kitchen table assembling these things. I remember sending 5 demos out to different influencers, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I've asked one of the influencers because I was hand sewing the Velcro straps,
Mm.
cutting Velcro, double D rings, hand sewing them right there on the kitchen table just
Yeah.
to get the first 5 out into people's hands to try them to get feedback. And so going from that, doing shipping, receiving, manufacturing, assembly, sourcing, branding, logos,
Yeah.
trademark registrations. I mean, it's always another thing, always another thing. But now it's actually kind of boring now. I mean, to be honest with you,
It's exciting getting stuff started like that.
oh yeah, no, that's the beginning. It's kind of like the feeling of after you put the bull elk on the ground, right?
Yep.
It's okay, now we have work to do, not just now we've accomplished the goal of having the fun, but now
Mm-hmm.
it's quarterly projections and finance and you know you moving units and just data and numbers. And I don't
Yeah.
do a whole lot of day-to-day assembly manufacturing. I mean, I check on those people,
Right.
but I'm more trying to forecast, okay, what are we going to do the next 3 months? What do we need? What's the cash flow look like? What's the labor load look like? And so you go from kind of entrepreneur to small business person, from small business person to middle management. And then as we've grown, I'm now not really upper management, but I'm doing more long-term
Overseeing.
stuff,
Yeah.
overseeing and not really paying attention to day to day, right? When
Sure.
a year ago, when you ordered a bow spider, I was upstairs assembling it, and then in the afternoon, I'd go run to the post office and put it in the mailbox before the kids got home from the bus. Meet the
Yeah.
kids home from the bus, get them dinner, and then after dinner, I'd go back and work till 9, 10 o'clock doing emails and stuff. And then the
Mm-hmm.
next morning, I'd get up, see what was ordered, assemble what was ordered, ship what was ordered,
Wow.
do the evening routine, and then that night was emails and research. And
Yeah.
so I'm very thankful, very blessed. It's been a rock star journey. And just coming down to picking a name. That's not
Right. And you guys are
it,
out there pounding the pavement too, hitting up total archery challenges and expos and
we
selling them
did
and
9 of 12 last year. This year we're not doing
wow.
as many. Just not that I don't want to be there, but it's a huge time commitment.
Oh yeah, especially with little kids, man.
Yeah, I
So,
mean that.
I've talked to people before too, and I feel like there's definitely a link between like an entrepreneurial kind of journey like you went on with Bow Spider and like a big adventure hunt. Like I feel like there's something in our personality that those things are just kind of part of certain people. Um, and I
Well,
know, go
I
ahead.
would 100% agree with you on that, right? And
Hmm.
it's because I guess there's a similarity in the fact that when you blow a stock on a big bull elk after 7 days of grinding, right? If
Yeah.
you've got a 14-day trip, you double down, right? You
Hmm.
just it's a gut punch, but you double down. And like my Cape Buffalo hunt, 7th hour, the 9th inning, right? You pull a rabbit out of your hat and you get it
Yeah.
done. And that euphoric high of accomplishing something that took a lot of perseverance,
Hmm.
as an expedition style bow hunter, right? I now want to go New Zealand, South Africa, Australia. I want to go do water buffalo and I want to go do red stag, but I want to do it more spot and stock DIY. I don't want to go do a canned hunt. That's just
Right.
not whatever. I don't need to harvest the animal. I want to go have the experience
It's the
of
adventure. It's like
the
getting that
adventure.
business started. It's not like someone just handed you a business, or it's not like you just took a job somewhere and you're taking a paycheck. It's like that
Yeah.
hunt of like making it work and fighting through hard stuff and all that.
But like with bow spider, and I've said this before, you come across a roadblock. The difference in the people I've seen that have made it and the ones that fail, it's not that the ideas the entrepreneurs have are good or bad, right? All of it's marketable and sellable. it's when the people who don't have that expedition mindset of, oh, the trail washed out. Okay, we'll go 4-wheel driving and figure out how to get around this trail
Mm-hmm.
and continue on our journey. It's like when they walk up to that trail washed out or that roadblock, they go, well, obviously this isn't going to work. And they abandon ship right there. And
Yeah.
I mean, you would say bow spiders made it. I'd say we're still in our infancy. We're trying, right?
Yeah.
But that mindset of we'll accomplish our goals no matter what. We might have to,
Yeah.
it might take 50% longer than we thought, and it might take 25% more cash, but we're
Mm-hmm.
going to make it happen. And
And
that's
when
the,
and when things happen too, the ability to shake it off, like you said on that elk hunt, like that hypothetical elk hunt, like you can't sit there and hang your head for 3 days. You got to get back after it, like having a short memory
adapt and
almost.
overcome, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's been lots of times on elk. I remember we messed it up, and it's like elk come in, they winded us just slightly, not a hard wind, but one of the herd, and but they were like 5 bulls going after it, all in the same little area, just screaming. We
Yeah.
moved 300 yards, called, and we killed 2 bulls 15 seconds apart.
Oh, nice.
Maybe 15 minutes after we screwed up on an elk, right? So if we
Yeah.
would have just turned around, hung our heads, and walked to camp, oh, we screwed those elk up. I mean, we went 300 more yards and killed 2 bulls
Yeah.
15 seconds apart, called 2 satellites in and dunk dunk.
There you
And
go.
the caller thought I shot the same bull, and the I shot thought I shot the same bull as the caller, right? Because he it was thick brush. He called the bull past me, and I had no shot. I just saw antlers going 15 yards by me and thick stuff. Well, that bull came and stopped 20 yards in front of him. He
Mm.
shot. I knew he shot that bull. Well, meanwhile, another bull came and presented me a 30-yard broadside. I took that shot 15 seconds apart, right?
Wow.
This bull runs up the stops. I shoot that one. The caller shot at his bull again, past me at about a 70-yard
Uh,
shot. Hit him both times, his bull. I never had a shot at that other bull. I made a great shot on mine. Little high lung, but still double lunged him. And so we had 2 bulls down the
that's
same
crazy, man.
afternoon.
Well, I know also that you're a man of faith. We talked about that a little bit. So how do you think your faith has influenced you as a hunter or as an entrepreneur?
I would say it's, part of who I am and part of what I do, right? I mean, it's integral, and I mean, I guess it's kind of somewhat private, personal, right? It's definitely, I have a relationship with the big guy upstairs, and we've been put here to accomplish more than just be consumers, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to be focused on the long term of how are we actually helping and impacting and making the world a better place. And I kind of like to, there's lots of avenues that we do that at Bow Spider on a daily basis, on a yearly basis, on a, long term, whether it's giving back to the community, whether it's just taking the kids on an adventure hike and picking up, agates and looking at turkey tracks. And,
Yeah,
you being out in nature for me is the closest I get to our creator, right?
for sure.
Going and sitting in a building and, with your nice clothes on, and, that's all fine and dandy. And we need that. And I mean, you need that sense of community, and that camaraderie and that fellowshipping is important.
Mm-hmm.
But on a whole different level, when I'm sitting out there, and you'll notice this when you're in the Brooks Range, and of all the mountain ranges I've been in my whole life, the Brooks Range holds something especially just sacred. I mean, knowing that you're the only human being for miles, and there's
Yeah,
no light pollution, there's no road pollution, there's no noise pollution.
yeah.
You are
And
ultimately,
like if you just walk that direction, you'll never hit a road. Like
you'll never hit anything.
you'll die before you hit like a town or something.
And I do like the control of doing a walk-in hunt versus a fly-in hunt, because when
Yeah,
that float plane leaves a fly-in hunt, there's a sinking pit of your stomach feeling like,
yeah.
okay,
Well,
stuff just got
we
real.
are flying in, and we're actually gonna be in the Alaska range. But
Okay,
I get
but
the
you'll still be,
yeah,
I mean, because you get up on top of those ridges. And I guess I've been home right out a week from Africa, and the emotional, spiritual experience of Africa was 2 months worth of emotion packed into a week, right?
Yeah.
This last week, I was pretty jet lagged, a little bit sick and lethargic, and nothing noteworthy happened the last 7 days. The 7 days before that was like, I mean, it was one of the top trips of my life, and that includes sheep hunting, that includes killing big bull elk. And I'll come out right now and say it, that if I had to pick one species and one weapon, it'd be bull elk with a bow. Period. I could forego the rest of it if that's the only thing I ever did again. But I do want to go on a mountain goat hunt. I do want to go on another moose hunt. I do want to go hunt Kodiak for grizzly bears, and I do want to go hunt red stag in New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of want to experience it all once, but I really am not going to sacrifice September archery elk hunting to go do any of that. So, but
that's cool.
Yeah, you talked about it in faith and the business, and it's kind of core of who we are and what we do. And I see so much negativity in the world every day anymore, to the point I don't consume news. So
me either at all.
I could care less, right? And the kids and I'll read a book or read the scriptures or go on a nature walk. And, a big part of my day is I got 2 young boys, and I'm trying to teach them that, while animals are food, we still respect and cherish and love them to the point of, and we've got horses to take care of. And I mean, we're blessed and fortunate, but I also do have to, like anybody, I mean, the one thing a lot of people look at a job like this, or look at their boss or the CEO of a company, any company, take a sanitation company or pick a company, I don't care, an excavation company. They look at the boss and, oh, it must be nice to not punch a clock, and it must be nice to, have all these perks. What they don't see is the other side of that coin of when there's a fire Friday night at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
The boss is either dealing with it or worried about it, or at least
you're on
Friday
the line
till Monday, he's contemplating how to fix it on Monday. If he doesn't, get up Saturday and go load the truck up and take care of it. So that trade-off is, I never punch in, Hunter. I don't punch in a clock.
But I'm guessing you wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, I also don't get to punch out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no off the clock, not my problem. It's my problem. So
I hear you on that, man.
It's worth it. And I would tell anybody out there that's similar is, you know what, it might take you twice as long as you hope. It might cost you 25% more money than you ever thought, but it's worth it. Keep grinding. And I mean, obviously the big man upstairs had a lot to do with the success of my company, for sure.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, just keep grinding. You're going to hit challenges. You're going to hit phases. You're just like a 7-day, 10-day hunt. You will hit challenges. How you respond to those challenges and continue and persevere is what ultimately usually plays out, like, hitting those.
It comes right down to mindset. I already told you, it doesn't matter how good or how bad the product is.
Right.
What kind of mindset are you behind it? How hard are you willing to sacrifice to get it done? And that's, I mean, back to that proverbial hypothetical elk hunt. If you do a DIY over-the-counter Colorado elk hunt and you get a goose egg, you strike out year 1, do you just say we're never doing it again? Or do you double down and start looking at maps, researching areas, talk to outfitters, and go back the next year with even more proficiency and skills and better equipment and better physical fitness? And that's I think where that goes hand in hand holistically, from being a DIY elk hunter to an entrepreneur business owner, is that mindset. It has nothing to do with your skills, your capability. It has everything to do with how bad do you want it? How hard are you willing to work for it?
100%, man. Well said. So you got any cool hunts planned this fall?
We are back in Alaska filming.
Nice.
And then
what hunt you doing?
Lucky enough to draw Montana for deer and elk combo.
Okay.
So going to do some public land up there about 6 hours from the house, and then we'll do some public land elk.
What are you hunting in Alaska?
We are going to be filming on Kodiak for 20 days.
Okay. Are you intentionally not saying the species you're hunting?
Yeah, sure. No, we will be chasing mountain goats.
Oh, sick, man.
My
That's
brother
awesome.
and my dad and I are going, and we're going to film it, put it on the YouTube channel, and
Awesome.
we may get skunked. And it's physically, I'm starting to try and eat better and work out
Yeah.
because from what I've heard, it is one of the terrain on Kodiak is just
Well, I was there in August. We did a blacktail hunt. But being in August, we were in goat country. We didn't like climb all the way to the top of stuff necessarily, but we were up at like 16, 1700 feet.
and the
Up.
brush is nasty, right?
Oh yeah, it is definitely
Physically
nasty.
fitness compared to an elk hunt more difficult.
I don't know, man. Where we were at, we were so high, like that we didn't have to go. We didn't have to climb that much to get to our glassing spots because we were already kind of up. But when we did shoot our deer, they were decent pack outs. We had to go back but honestly, this spot I was just in Idaho was way worse.
Okay.
To be
Well,
honest, just way
we're getting
steeper.
float claimed in and just dropped off with some tents, and
Yeah. Who are you flying
I,
with? Are you flying with Seahawk or one of the other guys?
the other ones. I think it's a Kodiak Air.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, they're all good. That's awesome, man. I'll be definitely looking out for that. And then I drew a Montana General deer, so I'll be kind of up in that neck of the woods too. But
When
anyway,
are you
man,
planning going up there?
um, I'll be up there. So I've got a hunt in Idaho on the last part of October, and then I'll be home for like a week, and then I'll go out there like probably middle of November and stay till like Thanksgiving or something.
That's my only problem is there isn't enough time and there isn't enough money because I'm going from August in Kodiak to September Montana to end of
Hmm.
September Wyoming, and I I mean I've got a couple days off between each to come make sure that the business is at least.
Yeah, and the family. Don't forget about them.
Oh yeah, don't forget about them. They might want to see me after
Yeah,
I took the wife to Africa the first time, and she didn't want to go this time. And like I said, there's that dichotomy of a guy walking shoeless down the street looking at you, not quite like you would like, and
yeah,
then a Mercedes passes both of you, and you're like, something weird's going on here.
yeah.
It's
Africa's
not.
different, man. But
It's definitely different.
yeah, there's never enough time. Especially when you're coming from Virginia, you get like freaking fly out there. Or like this last time I drove out to Idaho. I can't do that anymore though. But it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, you just keep getting it after it. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing is I again don't have to punch that clock, but every day I take off, I create 2 days of work on the other side. So and
Hmm.
there's that intrinsic motivation of I want to get more and more done, not less and less. So
Well, cool, man. It's been good talking to you. Where can folks find your video, your films, and like look into more about Bow Spider?
all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, is Bow Spider. At Bow Spider or hashtag Bow Spider. The YouTube channel is Bow Spider. Website is bowspider.com and email is info@bowspider. So
Sweet.
the phone numbers on the website, all our dealers are, and we've got that dealer locator. You can find a dealer near you, or you can just buy direct from
Yeah.
us. We try and ship 3 days a week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, orders go out. You order late Friday afternoon, it's going to ship Monday morning. Sorry,
Of
that's
course.
just we got families and lives too anymore. I
Right.
used to do
You're not
shipping.
Amazon.
Yeah, we're not Amazon, but like I said, we usually get your order to you in a couple days. So,
Yeah.
but
Well,
that's the
cool, man.
place you can get all that. Go check out the last two films on our YouTube channel, and I like to post pictures on Instagram. I like to check out Instagram. I hate Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm the
but
same.
everybody's on the Facebook, so we have a presence and we
Of
get on
course.
there. But honestly, if you want to get a hold of me, Facebook is
Not.
not the place.
Yeah.
The website's not the place. My phone, it's off all the time. I got one more podcast this afternoon and I won't answer the phone. But if you send me a message on Instagram, there's a good chance I might read it in a day or so.
Yeah. Well, awesome, dude. Well, it's been good talking to you, and looking forward to seeing that upcoming film too from Kodiak, and we'll have to stay in touch, man.
Yeah, you're only what, 14 months away from a sheep hunt in the Alaska
Mm-hmm.
range,
Yep.
which is the nice thing about the Brooks is it's an older mountain range, so it's pretty weathered kind of. It's more like Kodiak and a little bit rounder, and then some sheer cliffs where
Yeah.
the sheep and goat like to go. There's no goats up in the Brooks range. It's I don't know why those goats like the wetter habitat, right?
Hmm.
So you look at Alaska and they're close to the coast ranges, and you kind of go two mountain ranges in, and then there's no more goats, but
Interesting.
there's sheep.
Interesting.
So that Alaska range is a little newer and it's a little more
A little
steep and
jagged.
rocky.
Yeah, I've heard
Yeah,
it's rough,
I
but
uh
we'll be all right.
I like to have good hiking poles, and I would probably be in the Alaska range taking a pair of crampons.
Okay.
You
Good.
know,
Good to know. I don't go
they
anywhere
make me,
without trekking poles anymore. So.
yeah, no, I don't elk hunt anywhere. I didn't take them to Africa. I almost would
Well,
have
yeah.
used one. I mean, and I
Right.
can remember, we did a 50 miler in Boy Scouts, and I'll age myself a little bit. It was in the 1900s, but I think it was like 96 or so. But these two hikers went past me with fanny backs, water bottles, a little like Yorgie or Terrier or something, and they both had hiking poles, and they were hiking the Three Sisters Wilderness in Oregon. And I looked at them, and here I am on a 50 miler with the Scouts with like a 45-pound pack with no hiking pole. I'm like, what do you got them sissy sticks for? I
Yeah,
mean, come
exactly.
on, right? Man up.
Yeah.
Having that stability
Oh,
to,
dude.
it reduces your leg fatigue, what, 30%? So I
Hmm.
can go 30% further and longer.
Yeah,
As
dude. This hunt I was
Yeah,
just on in Idaho, like if you didn't have them, I mean, it's dangerous. Like,
yeah.
and I got to the point. It's almost like, and if you're not if you're hunting a spot where you don't need trekking poles, you might not be hunting hard enough,
Well, I
unless you're in
started with
Africa.
a 70-pound pack on that sheep hunt, and you can watch the film. We never put it on the scales, but it was approaching 120, if
Mm,
not more.
on the way
And we're
out.
coming through stuff that I didn't want to have a backpack on at all hiking down it, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. If I went on a nature hike with the kids, I wouldn't have hiked down there by myself.
Yeah.
And so
You gotta have
having
them.
the capability to brace both and then move one foot, brace both and then move the other foot.
Oh, it's
It's
saved me many times from eating
yeah.
it. But
So, which
but yeah, man.
brand are you using at the moment?
So I had a pair of Lakey poles. I just on this hunt in Idaho, they gave me a pair of Peaks sissy sticks
Yeah.
to try out.
So I had a pair of black diamonds, and then I got two different pair of Lakey, and then I bought a pair of sissy sticks last year.
You like those?
Loving the sissy sticks. They're
Nice.
they're worth the little extra over the Lakeys. They're good. So
Cool. Yeah, yeah. I liked them. So
I'm not the collapsible style with with the,
internal cable or whatever.
that's just not me. I
No, I
just
don't like
went
those
with
either.
Nah, it's just they're heavier. I could see somebody might like those. I just got the carbon fiber collapsibles, and they're good. They're worth it. And what's awesome is they're a pro hunting company. So that's a little plug for them. I'm
Yeah.
not paid. I bought mine retail,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that's a good thing about Peaks or other companies like that is you're supporting a hunting company,
yeah.
you know? So, so yeah, man, that's great. And speaking of hunting companies, guys, check out Bow Spider. He's got a cool product and it can definitely help you get that quick draw with your bow. You're not worrying about fumbling it out and everything. But yeah, dude, it's been great catching up with you, man.
Well, I've been following a little bit along, so keep grinding, and we'll have to.
Yeah, man.
What when exactly are you coming out here to Montana?
Okay, so not exactly sure. My Idaho hunt ends on the 31st, and then I'm going to come home hopefully 7 to 10 days ish, and then come out to Montana. But I was going to talk to you a little bit more about this off air. But next year, I should draw a Wyoming General Rifle elk tag.
There you go.
So maybe
Um,
we could
for
link
the general
up or
public, there's no elk in Wyoming. It's not
none.
worth the money or time. You know what? Go to Colorado. You
Yeah,
can get a tag guaranteed over the counter, and you'll have a blast.
there you go.
But yeah, we could chat about it. I'm all for it. I like that. I like to kill elk. I already said that. That's
Yeah,
that's what I
I
like.
know, man. And I've heard things about locals and wilderness areas and things that we should
Yeah, I
discuss.
don't know anything about that. I think the general public, if you want my 2 cents, there's a lot of
Colorado is
big
where it's
bulls in
at.
New Mexico, Arizona. If you
Oh
want a
yeah.
big bull, Utah's where it's at. They got
Oh
the
yeah.
big,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah.
All right,
So,
man. Well, I got to clear off here. I'm sure you got stuff to do too, but again, it was good talking to you. Let's stay in touch, man.
as always, it's a pleasure, Hunter.
All right, brother.